Don't worry about it, coach. The only team that's stopping Georgia, I think Robert said it last year, State Trooper. There's no team I could see in SEC that can even run with Georgia right now.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast preview of the Southeastern Conference. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and with us today, Cavalcade of Stars, starting with Captain for Life, Will Cotton. Will, what's going on, sir? Ready for big boy football?
Finally, the real conference talk. Let's go.
Academic and athletic consultant for the CK Save Project, George Aka. George, we're finally at the SEC, man.
Yeah, oh well. Blessed to be here. Well, so what? Whatever.
And our Texas correspondent, and he's going to give us the information because a lot of teams down there. Robert Abney. Robert, what's going on, man?
Do they play football in the SEC?
Big boy football in the SEC. All right. So first and foremost, we always got to say the Odd Coaches podcast college football previews are designed for the casual fan to get you excited for the season. We also talk about things strictly for entertainment purposes only in segment one.
Strictly entertainment
Strictly
purposes.
for entertainment purposes only.
So
Segment one.
right now. So
Best of the SEC. Segment two, we cover the rest of the SEC. And in segment three, we do our postseason predictions. Let's get started. Will, I'm coming to you first because you're going to talk me off the ledge. Georgia, over under is 10.5. They're a great football team, but gosh darn it, you don't handle your business very well. So, Will, just go ahead and talk to me a little bit about Georgia so I don't scream about the lack of discipline and structure and so forth with their coaching staff and their players. So go ahead, Will.
Don't worry about it, coach. The only team that's stopping Georgia, I think Robert said it last year, State Trooper. There's no team I could see in SEC that can even run with Georgia right now. They're doing the same run that they did Alabama like in the early 2000s, like 2013, 2014, 2015. Now they have some new blood, Oklahoma and Texas, but I think for right now, this conference, I think Georgia is still the king of the mountain.
All right. I don't want to stay on Georgia too long. I'm still mad. George, I'm going to you. Alabama. Over under is 9.5. Saban's gone, but the players kind of stayed. What do you think about Alabama, sir?
It's going to be an interesting year. I'm going to be real interested to see how the program does without Saban. So far, you've heard nothing but good things coming out of Alabama about what's going on. They have a legit schedule this year where it's going to be it'll be pretty tough. I can see them getting 9, maybe 10. But I could also actually see 2 or 3 losses on there. They're not we'll see. They had a number of kids that left, that transferred out. So it is that year that we're going to go. It's that year where we're going to have to see what's life like after Saban and what this whole new framework's going to be. They got, when you roll into a schedule where you got to play Georgia, Georgia, LSU, and Tennessee all in one schedule, you're gonna find out real quick what you about. So we're gonna see.
All right, Robert, I'm going to pause on you. Texas, over under is 10.5. They have talent and they have clout, and it is their time, they believe, to be nationally relevant, and they're in the best football conference in the country. What are your thoughts on Texas this year? Is this their year to do everything they have been trying to do for the past time since Vince Young left?
Everything would point that direction. They get to go to Michigan for week 2. So trip to the big house will always tell you a little bit about yourself, but circle on your calendar November 30th, Texas A&M and Texas. It's the first time they played. I have to look. I don't remember.
It's been it's been years. I
It's
think
been
it's
a long time since they played.
Since they left the Big 12. I mean, since they left the Big 12, it's gonna be
at Kyle Field.
It's gonna be a
blood. Oh, that's gonna be good.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
The people already getting revved up for that one. Let me tell you.
All right. Ole Miss over under is 9.5. Lane Kiffin is one of my favorite people to just kind of hang around and watch. They don't have Alabama on the schedule, but they do have Georgia and Oklahoma. So good luck with that. George, I'm going to pause with you. Tennessee, 9 wins. Former Cowboys quarterback Danny White is the athletic director there, former athletic director at UCF. Tennessee wants to be a big boy. They have won in the past, but they haven't won in the way they want to, similar to Texas. What do you think about Tennessee, sir?
Let me back up real quick. You mentioned Ole Miss and did not mention Ole Miss and LSU, which is one of the biggest games in the SEC. Always, so they gotta win that one. So number 2, Tennessee is actually it's gonna be one of those years for Tennessee. This is make or break. We're gonna see how good they're gonna be because they've been on the come up right at that crescendo. They took the coach used to be, it was at UCF when they were destroying everybody. Was it Heifel? I think it was, former Oklahoma quarterback. And they got swagger to them. They're going to be a good team. Now my situation is going to be, what's that quarterback play going to look like for them? Because that's going to be the major thing to see if they're getting over the hump or not. But they should be right there in the mix to see who's playing, see who comes out of that side of the SEC.
I don't think they do that anymore. I think it's all 12, if I'm not mistaken.
Then they're gonna be fighting for that other spot to see who's gonna be playing Georgia.
And it's more than 12. All right, Cotton Man, LSU, 9 wins. No Jaden Daniels. They have some big goals out there in the Bayou. What are you thinking about LSU?
They're always a good team every year. I mean, even when they got through the national championship team that they did, they had the next year, they were not that good. But then the year after that, they're always having NFL level talent, which means you're always going to be competing. It depends on the quarterback. It's NCC, man. If you have a quarterback and you can actually slice that defenses up like Jaden Daniels did last year, then they'll be all right. But, they like to call themselves the DBU as the best defensive backs and cornerbacks. But, when you're 108 in the defense nationally, all of it looks bad, so they got to tighten it up on both sides, and I'm surprised they always have a great D line and they always have a good secondary. And if they can go back to their normal ways, as long as their quarterback's good, I mean, I could see them ink 9 wins, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be, again, this is a murderer's row now. So, it's going to be tough. If it was me, I'd take the under just because there's just so many other teams they're playing right now. But we'll see what their quarterback looks like. If he looks like Jaden Daniels, great. If he looks like William Cotton, you take the under the 9. And I ain't doing it.
I'm calling it here. As LSU will be in the mix for win the championship of the SEC. I'm calling
strictly for entertainment purposes only, fans.
Strictly.
All right, so I'm taking Missouri because Missouri is my team to watch, and it's for all of the wrong reasons. Missouri's coming off an 11-win season, but the state legislature passed some new NIL laws for high school student athletes that if you commit to a Missouri school, you can maximize all types of income. So Missouri had a great recruiting class, and they also have their quarterback back. They got wide receivers. I want you to pay attention to Missouri because they're going to be a problem. So to close this segment, Texas A&M, Robert, over-under is 8.5. They got Notre Dame on the schedule, if I'm not mistaken. They got Florida on the schedule. They have a new coach. We made fun of the other coach, but he made his money all the way to the bank. Where is Texas A&M in the pantheon of Texas schools. You tell us what's going on.
So the panic is just below the panic from the Jimbo Fisher era. It's barely below the surface right now. It's right there. Nobody's showing anything. Everybody's good. We got a new coach. It's great. Notre Dame comes to Kyle Field on August 31st. If they lose that game, it's on. It is on. Let me tell you, there will be wailing and gnashing of teeth for you'll be able to hear it in the DMV. Let me tell you. I mean, so and again, I already talked about this. They get Texas in Kyle Field November 30th. They have not played since 2011, and Texas won that game. So, like I said, they're already getting spun up for that one, man.
Hey,
so,
Robert, if they win that game, all sins are forgiven at that point in time.
They have talent, man. They do.
Oh, I mean, they're loaded. A&M's going to be fine. I mean, even if they lose to Notre Dame, A&M is going to be fine. They're going to be in the mix. But yeah, no, George is right. They can go 2-9 into that Texas game, and if they beat Texas, they're good.
All right, so fans, in segment 2, we will talk about the next group of teams in the SEC. So many good teams. Big boy football's here. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast. This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Save Project and author of Finding the Balance, My Personal Journey to Academic and Athletic Success. This book is your key to unlocking the secrets of being a successful student athlete. Drawing from my 30-year career as a teacher and coach, this instructional guide offers a unique perspective on achieving success in both academics and athletics. With over 15 personal stories and insightful anecdotes, Finding the Balance is a must-read for student athletes, parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators. Visit www.ckasaveproject.org to get your copy and start finding the balance today. Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast. Shout out to Mike King for my pettiness. In segment 2, we're going to keep going on. Robert, I'm going to go to you. Oklahoma. Over under 7.5. Again, Brent Venables came from Clemson with a huge reputation and did do very well last year. And now, you in big boy football, what do you think about Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean they're not, their talent level is not what they have been. Their talent level has dropped off, and I think early they're going to be okay because their early schedule is not very good. But man, you get into conference play, finding enough wins to get bowl eligible. That's going to be tough.
Wow. Okay. All right. We're going to go to Auburn and not stay there very long. Over under 7.5. They struggled last year. They almost lost to some lower tier teams. I believe they have Georgia, Missouri, and Kentucky on the schedule. So we're going to go right to Will Cotton and talk Florida. Over under's 5. Pressure's on Billy Napier. You got that stretch with Tennessee, Kentucky, Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss. What do you think about Florida this year, sir?
Man, it's been sad. I've been a big Florida fan for a long time. I think like 96, and I was like 10 years old. I was been a fan. They just it's almost like they don't want to win right now. If they're waiting for a different coach, they're not winning. They're not even exciting to watch. It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough in Florida. They haven't beaten like that in a long time. I think they can get, I don't know, 5 wins is admirable if they can get there. But I think this is going to be another season where Billy Napier is probably going on. This is where he gets fired. I don't think he's going to have the wins to have a reason to stay or to keep. If I'm Florida, I'm like, look, last year you were terrible. This year probably going to be bad. We're not the team that we were. We're not even competing. And traditionally, whenever Miami or Florida State's playing well, Florida is usually bad. Just like the other two. So if it's like Florida and Florida State are good, Miami's bad. So I understand how the triangle works, but it's been like a long time for Florida this bit bad. Like they haven't been this bad in a long time. So I'm not excited about the turn. I'm not excited. It's just I think he's done. I think this is the last season. Napier's gone, and then they'll try to do something different. But this is not. I'm not a big fan.
Hey man, real question: how are you bad at Florida? How does this happen?
Exactly.
I don't understand. You have the swamp. You have all the stuff you need to get kids down there, and you're in Florida. Yeah. I mean, when you can have University of Central Florida and FIU good at sports, how are you bad?
Yeah. It's sad.
But one of the things though is that historically, hasn't it always been that one of those big three, Miami, Florida State, Florida, one of them's not very good historically, right?
But they've never been like
right now. It looks like it's Florida's turn, and that's even and saying that's even before you start talking about UCF, USF, everybody else, right? So.
Yeah, but they usually are. They usually put a decent product out on the field, even during the Muschamp era and all of that, because their peaks were the Spurrier era and then the Meyer era. And you had some drop offs after that, but they usually put 7-8 win team out on the field. The Swamp was never an easy place to play, and right now. Yeah. There's a whole lot of teams that can go in the Swamp and beat the hell out of them, which I am in disbelief because I don't ever remember. I only remember very few times when
Florida's been that bad.
When it was that bad that when you were a good team, you could go into the Swamp and be like, hey, we might come out of here with a win, because before the Swamp was one of the worst places to play in the country. And now I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't know.
All right, we're going to jump to South Carolina, one of my favorite schools, believe it or not, 5.5. I've been down to South Carolina for many an event, and a very close friend of our family, my brother Walter's daughter, Olivia, will be going to South Carolina. So good luck to her. Kentucky, not just basketball. They're over under 6.5. Mark Stoops took some money, and he's comfortable. So good luck with trying to get 7 wins.
Hey man, they lost everybody.
Hey, he signed his check. He's good.
But they went from having a great team last year, and they lost everybody. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough on them.
All right. Arkansas over under is 5.5. I'll just say that Arkansas plays Ole Miss, LSU, Texas, Tennessee, and Missouri. And they have a non-conference game against Oklahoma State. So, strictly for entertainment purposes only, let's pay attention to Arkansas. We're going to move on to Mississippi State under 4.5. First-year coach at Mississippi State. They play Arizona State on the road. They play Texas. They play Georgia in consecutive weeks. They also play Ole Miss and Tennessee. So, yes. And finally, my favorite team in the SEC is Vanderbilt, because they care about academics, darn it. Over and under 3. And they play Alcorn State, Georgia State, and Ball State, and then the rest of the SEC. So, strictly for entertainment purposes only as we close the segment. Are you taking the over or the under with that data that I just gave you?
Oh, give me the under, because they better not lose to Georgia State. I'll tell you what.
Hey, don't forget, Vanderbilt has our guy Diego Pavia, my guy from New Mexico State. He transferred to Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay.
Don't forget.
Oh my goodness. The random notes you get from the OCP. Random notes.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. I love my guy. He's 5'9", 180, playing quarterback in the SEC. I don't know, man.
The math ain't math, as we like to say.
Never mind.
I'm gonna tell you this: that Georgia State game is gonna be tough. They might not get out of that. I'm just letting you know because Georgia State.
Georgia State's tough.
So I just said the math ain't mathing, but do remember New Mexico State beat Auburn last year with Diego Pavia at quarterback.
Yeah, they did.
All right, so fans, segment 3. Yes, I'm gonna take a couple of notes. We'll do a lot, man. We got some stuff to talk about with the SEC and these bowls and the college football playoffs. We'll be right back on the iCoaches Podcast.
This is Dr. Keith Adams, president of the CKA Safe Project, with a question for you. Are you passionate about supporting student athletes? If so, then become an official member of the CKA Safe Project and make a difference today. With your membership, you'll be able to help us provide essential academic and athletic support to underserved communities nationwide. Join us in empowering student athletes to achieve their full potential, both on and off the field. Together, we can build a brighter future through education and sports. Visit ckasafeproject.org and choose your membership level now. $25 is a bronze level membership, $50 is a silver level membership, and $100 is a gold level membership. Be a part of the change. Become a member of the CKA Safe Project today.
Welcome back to the iCoaches Podcast in segment 3. All right, postseason. So be stunned if we don't get at least 3 SEC teams, possibly 4 in the college football playoffs. So with that, the bowl situation is going to be strange because the SEC alternates with the Big Ten with the Las Vegas Bowl, the Duke Mayo Bowl, and this year the SEC is expected to go to the Las Vegas Bowl. So you got the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. You also have the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, the Las Vegas Bowl, the Require Quest Bowl, the Texas Act Texas Bowl, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, and the Trans Perfect Music City Bowl. You also have the Birmingham Bowl, as well as the Union Home Mortgage, I still mispronounce it, Gasparilla Bowl or something. All right, so here are the bowl eligible teams as I believe they're going to be in the SEC. Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, Missouri, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Auburn, and Kentucky. I got Georgia winning it. And now here comes the college football playoff participants, in my opinion, if they get 4, here are the 4 teams. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, and Missouri. Ak, I'm coming to you first. What do you think about the postseason?
Didn't like that.
What do you think about the postseason in terms of the SEC? How many teams are they going to get in? Anybody you're extra watching?
4, did you say?
The 4 that I said, and I don't mind standing up saying it. Georgia, yes. Texas, yes. Alabama, yes. And again, my team to watch is Missouri because they got better players in because their NIL money's good.
No wonder you do this just for
entertainment purposes only.
No wonder. How do you even make that comment with Ole Miss and LSU sitting out there?
Even Missouri wouldn't say that.
Missouri ain't even thinking about that.
They ain't even talking. We got a chance.
Missouri lucky to look. Missouri's like, thank God we're in the SEC. Are you kidding me right now?
Man, not at all, man. And I told you why.
No, I'm not even talking anymore. You go to the next person. I can't even believe that came out your mouth.
Hey, again, the NIL money. I
don't care about the NIL, nothing. We're talking about on the field football, about who you got. Okay. Going to the next person because you
go ahead, Cotton Man. Who you got?
You're
man,
out.
OCP
shut the segment down. That statement shut the segment down.
OZP must be housed in Missouri because I don't see why they getting this.
He must be getting the check. He must be getting.
They must be getting the check from the state.
Yeah, that's his NIL money. That's his NIL.
If you talk about Missouri, you're gonna get some money. That's how they.
I can't even believe. You need. There must be something else in that
over LSU, over Miss. You know,
I gotta have something to watch all season, buddy.
He just
Project Missouri.
he just excluded 2 teams that are gonna be fighting for probably a national championship.
Project Missouri. Hey, franchise, we got a Project Missouri.
Oh my God.
All right,
Hey,
Robert,
you and Will talk. I'm done. You and Will
postseason.
talk. I'm done, man.
That's too funny.
Oh my goodness. What could I possibly add to that? I mean, really, come on.
All right. So, fans, let's make sure you understand. Georgia's going to be in the college football playoffs. Alabama, Texas, there are only 12 teams going to the playoffs. I only believe that the SEC is going to get 3. So why not throw out a 4th team, strictly for entertainment purposes only? But again, the SEC is big boy football. So, George, out of the SEC, knowing we're going to have 5, meaning the Power 4 highest rated Power 4 champions plus the group of 5, wherever they sneak them in. Okay, so now we've got 7 slots left. How many slots does the SEC get?
I got them getting 2 or 3. Those last 2 spots are going to be a fight between Ole Miss, LSU, and it won't. And see, I don't think I got to get an Alabama. I don't think Texas is going to be in the mix. I think the grind of being in the SEC is going to be a new thing for Texas, and I got them slipping up. I got them slipping up at least twice or 3 times this year, because it's going to be. I'm looking at their schedule. You know, after I don't see them being bothered. You know, but then up until they got Oklahoma, then they play Georgia. But I take that back. I got to throw them in the mix now because I just looked at their whole schedule and they got nobody but Georgia and Texas A&M really that they can't beat. So they'll be between those teams, those LSU, Ole Miss, in Texas and Alabama for those last 2 spots. Right. However they go, however that bloodshedding goes, that goes in the SEC. If Texas had to play some other teams, I would have excluded them, but their schedule's kind of weak, man. So,
all right, Robert, do you think SEC gets 3 in?
So I agree that with George, it's probably going to be Georgia and Texas. I think Alabama will be in. I still think they're going to get 4 in, and the fourth team will come from Ole Miss, Tennessee, LSU, Missouri. It'll be one of those 4, and there's still going to be lots of, wailing and gnashing of teeth, and you guys overrate the SEC because whoever that 4th team is, it's entirely possible that they're 9-4 when they get in.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but because I think the Big Ten gets in the way in terms of that gnawing and gnashing, because you're going to have Ohio State and Oregon's very good. So there's 2 right there. Right. And then their 3rd team, I'm hoping Penn State. I'm still battering myself.
I think their 3rd team's going to be Michigan. But
yeah,
I still think I still think SEC's getting 4 in.
Wow. Will, close us out. How many teams do you think the SEC are getting the college football playoff?
I mean, like the panel says, I think safely 3. I think if some things get interesting, maybe 4. So I would say 3 to be safe. 3 teams for sure, no problem. And if we get a 4th, then we got to kind of mix things around again, because this conference is too good.
The one thing I will say before we close, when we see these non-conference games, if the SEC is crushing everybody in these non-conference games, then I think NC State plays Tennessee, something like that. And I know they're going to try to run it up on them. Things like that, games like that, will be, to quote George, very interesting to see how that works out. So on behalf of our go ahead.
Before you close out, I'll tell you, if Texas wins that Texas A&M game at the end of the year, they'll get 4 teams in. And I say that because you're going to have it'll set up the Texas Georgia SEC championship game, and the rest of them behind them, you're talking about the LSUs and Ole Miss could come in with one or maybe two losses, and there's no way. I don't know. They're going to be good enough that I don't know how you're going to turn them away. So
my one wrinkle for you, George: if Notre Dame beats Texas A&M, they get to ride that all year.
Won't happen. Go ahead.
So if Notre Dame beats Texas A&M and then Texas A&M beats Texas, and the love affair with Notre Dame,
won't happen.
That steals a slot, as we like to say in the basketball tournament. But on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and/or watching the iCoaches podcast, and we'll see you on the sidelines. Till next time.
The iCoaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student-athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student-athlete academic progress, to improving student-athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA Save Project provides wraparound services for student-athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the iCoaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at oddcoaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach FRANCHIZE. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the iCoaches podcast.